And just to be abundantly clear as well, this is not like, if you look at this list and you're like, oh, he put Samurai's S tier, that means take it to raid. That's not what this tier list is saying. This is my personal enjoyment of all of these jobs. Do not think of this as some performance tier list. Because frankly, I'm going to put stuff that I play for raid and love to play at a pretty low, maybe a little lower than you might expect. Okay.
Okay.
There we go.
Let's update this.
All right. So we got S tier, we got A tier, we got B, C, D. Let's add a tier. Add a row below. And this tier, it's not called F tier, it's called holy shit. That's what it's called. Actually, I'm gonna add another tier. And it's called, this tier is called Blue Mage Hell. This is where all Blue Mages go. No, this is Blue Mage Hell. Blue Mage. I'm not going to unironically try to rank Blue Mage properly. Okay, Blue Mage is Blue Mage. It's filled with memes. So that's what's happening there. Okay, right? Okay, Blue Mage is in Hell. Good. Where it belongs. Okay, so let's start with the tanks. Tanks. I actually like all of them. I really do. But let's be clear here. I'm gonna start with this is all about fun and not performance. So Paladin actually ends up being S tier. I gotta say, I think it's fun. I think the ability to have this like kind of ranged tank, if you're smart and you know how to use your cooldowns, is really fun. Configure your combos amazing. It's the first job I leveled in Endwalker, because I was just having a lot of fun with it, right? So Paladin is S tier. It's also tanky as fuck. Like, it's got solutions to problems, which is kind of fun. I know I just said no performance, but it really does feel pretty strong in that way. All right, Gunbreaker. I am going to give Gunbreaker... I'm between A or B. Because if I consider the rotation, it's A, but... I really want to like the... I think everyone hypes too much on like, oh, it's a DPS, like, oh, I got it. It's fun to weave. I'm like, it's not that fun to weave with Gunbreaker. Like, you're pressing a button a bunch. This weaving... I like weaving on jobs. I like weaving on Dark Knight, but I feel like Gunbreaker's too restrictive, so I don't have a lot of fun with it personally, especially when I feel like I want to use my defenses, but it feels kind of weird or awkward too. But I think that point is often overhyped as being a big problem, so I'm going to keep it in A tier. Maybe I might be really biased to tanks. I just like playing tanks, so this list will probably have all the tanks in the upper tiers, like for sure. All right, Warrior. You know what? Fuck it. B tier. B tier for Warrior. You know why? Yeah, they're tanky as hell. Yeah, they can heal themselves for full. Rotation is boring. Fell Cleave. Primal Rend. I don't care, man. It's boring. Sorry. You can heal for full. But in dungeons. Sure. Whatever, right? The utility is fun. Like, the fact that you can, use Thrill of Battle and Equilibrium to guarantee, or you do that in your inner release window and you're healing for a shit ton. Super fun. Cool, I guess. Like, that should be the standard. All tanks should have this utility that really works well together, interacts in interesting ways. But the actual, warrior rotation is so snooze. Like, I like the animation for Fellcleave, and that's, it. But, I would totally play Warrior, any day of the week. Especially Warrior's really good if you need to do raid callouts, because not too much else is going on. So that's my take on Warrior. Alright, Dark Knight, A tier. I'm not gonna pretend like my favorite tank is S tier. It's not. It has a lot of problems. But maybe that's why I'm making it A tier, or I'm more aware of what those problems really are. TBN dipping into your damage dealing resources, and of course Blood Weapon being the meme that it is. Not to mention dungeons are, I'm not gonna say they're harder. Question mark. Like, if you're a Dark Knight and you die in a dungeon, it's either because you really didn't use your defensives or your healer was actually completely asleep. But it's kind of annoying that we don't have the same sustain or powerful cooldowns, or our cooldowns are too situational for in dungeons. Like, magic damage reduction in dungeons does not come up very often. In tanks, in raids and trials, we're tanky as fuck. We're great, man. Awesome. Pog. And the rotation is, especially during the 2-minute burst window, it's fun. It's busy. I like hitting my buttons and make my brain make the good chemical, but I'm not going to pretend like it's S tier. Like, there's so many other things that if they solve them as problems... Oh, yeah, Living Dead. Like, if they fixed Living Dead, man, I'd be so happy, but no. Also, you're not able to see the... I'm going to move my face, my beautiful, beautiful face here. There we go. That says S tier, by the way. Totally does. All right, let's talk about healers. Probably the job I'm the least qualified to talk about, but I'm going to try my best here. But this is also an opinion-based tier list, so nothing matters. Let's do this. Fucking Scholar Pog. Holy shit, I love this job. I love that and if this were Shadowbringers, I probably would have made it like B or C, but I feel like the fairy being way more responsive. There's still some jank in there with like how some of your toolkit interacts with itself, but at this point in time, I'm willing to overlook it because of how much fun I just have. I feel like with Scholar, I just have a lot of ways of dealing with problems. And yeah, I think it's great. Let's do its cousin, Sage. Is that a hot take? I don't know if that's a hot take or not. I just think Sage is like Scholar, but everything's reskinned a little bit. Like, I don't know. Every time I'm like, maybe I'd want to play Sage, I'd just play Scholar instead. Like, that's just in my head. Like, I'm like, why would I play Sage when I could play Scholar? The one thing I like about Sage is it feels really, really mobile. I really want to think if I want to put White Mage in D tier. It's one of those things where if it were PvP, if I considered PvP in this poll, which I won't, but if I did, White Mage would be higher. Because I actually like playing White Mage in PvP. Because that's just... I'm going to put it in C tier when you include dungeons. Because because Holy Spam saves it. Basically, Holy Spam is the reason it's not D tier. But otherwise, I can't imagine it being that fun to play for content. Here's one. Astrologian. Oh, where do you think I'm going to put Astrologian, Wrote? Because it's actually only going into B tier. I just like shield healing more. Leveling Astrologian is a nightmare. Yeah, it was definitely harder for me to heal stuff in dungeons, I felt like. Oh yeah, like you have a lot of OGCDs that do AoE healing. But in dungeons, what's important is single target healing or shielding, which you don't have like an aggressive amount of. Like, yeah, you're using your AoE off global cooldowns to heal one target. But I guess when you put it that way, it's like you press a button and solve a problem. It's really fun. So I get the other annoying part about Astrologian that would drive me insane is like the card management. Remember, this is personal bias. This is me. I wonder if that's the same as Dark Knight. That's exactly the same as Dark Knight. Dark Knight is fun when you play it too much. You're too invested in Dark Knight to quit. It's probably like drugs. Maybe there'll be a world when I start healing and playing Astro more that'll start to really vibe with it. But for me, like managing, it's kind of like minor arcana and the cards and the OGCDs. It kind of gets on me a little bit. That being said, I still think I like it more than White Mage because I just think White Mage is a little bit boring. Like Astrologian, It's a problem. There's nothing in between White Mage and Astrologian. You're either Astrologian and you're just pogging out of your mind constantly. You're like, it's like that sweaty, you know, that like sweaty gamer meme. That guy's like, it's like that. It's like Astrologian is like that, and then like White Mage is just like, oh man, I love White Mage. Just here, this is White Mage. This is White Mage. Just all right. Let's go through melee DPS. Starting with Dragoon. Dragoon's going in A tier. Not S tier because like I want to love it more, and this would be the melee DPS I bring into raids, but it feels like a lot of fucking work. Dragoon is so much work. All the weaving and stuff. You know what? Actually, no. I'm going S tier, and I'll explain why. Because Ninja, if I'm gonna make that argument, then Ninja's actually way more work. I do like Ninja. I do love Dragoon. You know, I love Dragoon for almost style reasons alone. Your animations are cool as shit, and the rotation is fun. Busy, but I can't really complain about Dragoon rotation when I think Ninja is way more busy. Ninja, during its opener, and it would be at 6 minutes, so whenever Bunchin lines back up, is way more busy, and almost to the point where it's hard to deal with. Kind of annoying to deal with. So maybe Ninja's too far in one direction for me, because I do like busy rotations. But maybe Ninja's too far in one direction for me. Where Dragoon might be a little closer to what I'm looking for. Here's a hot take. Is that a hot take? I don't think it's a hot take. I haven't given anyone the D tier yet, but I don't think Reaper's rotation is that fun. I think it's boring. I think it's flashy. Animation-wise, it's flashy. If it weren't flashy, it would be a definite D tier. Perhaps going into the hell tier list. There's nothing going on in that rotation. There's absolutely no substance to it. Where it feels like with other things, you've got layers going on. Like, you know, that have built up over time. Yeah. No. Okay, so that's that. Let's talk about Monk. This is personal. I'm gonna put Monk in B tier. I'm not gonna be that mean. I'm just bad. I'm probably just bad at Monk. Frankly, there's a lot of... Monk has a really cool high skill ceiling that I'm also completely incapable of pulling off. But I do think the rotation is very fun. I just wish I were better at it. All right, what do we have next? We have Samurai. Samurai's S tier. The rotation is fun. The rotation is fun. The animations are fun. Maximum Weeb, Ogi Namakiri, Midare Setsugeka, Midare Setsugeka, Ogi Namakiri. Just maximum Weeb, but I'm here for it. Okay, where should we go here? Oh, Ranged Fizz. Let's start with Dancer. Okay, so Dancer is between S or A tier. I'm gonna go A tier. I'm not giving it S. I'm not giving it S. I still feel like... Maybe it's me. Maybe I don't truly like playing full, like, more supporty type, even though Dancer's really good. Bard. Yeah. Bard can take the A spot. Bard's fun. No, Bard's B. Because at the end of the day, I'm just hitting buttons. Like, I don't really feel like there's a whole lot going on there that really excites me. I mean, you're going through your songs. I know maybe your songs tend to vary in certain situations, but for the most part in single target, they won't and don't. Yeah. I guess in that way, Dancer's a little more fun. The burst window is cool. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna rank it A. It's because like I can't say that I like Dancer as much as Samurai, Dragoon, Scholar, or Paladin. I just can't. But I think the tech step window is really fun when you're just like, you know, John Madden weaving in, throwing all your feather dances in and stuff like that, and that's a good time. Some of you might know where this is heading. Some of you might not, because you haven't watched me level Machinist. I do not like Machinist, and the sad thing is I did really like it until about level 72. Because you just stop getting anything interesting for a whole ass 18 levels. So yeah, it's bad. Like level 72, you get Bioblaster, which is basically your AoE drill, although it's AoE drill, but your target has to stay alive long enough for it to be worth the same as AoE drill. And then you just get a bunch of traits that upgrade stuff over time. Even your level 80 ability just changes Rook Overdrive into Automaton Queen. Which... okay, I mean, cool. It's kind of like if living... oh, it's kind of like the Dark trait that lets Living Shadow cast Shadowbringer, which isn't really a trait. Like, I'm sorry, like, I assumed it was going to cast that anyways. But Machinist is kind of like that, where you get Automaton Queen and it looks cooler. And it does more damage, but there's no play style change. And then pretty much you're doing a 1, 2, 3, which none of the other jobs have a 1, 2, 3, or at least the rotation feels a little more dynamic. Bard feels more dynamic. Dancer definitely feels a little more dynamic. Maybe not that much. Maybe not that much more dynamic, but. And then there's also the complaints about hypercharge and stuff. That kind of annoy me. I've personally never had issues with the hypercharge window. My ping is pretty good. My issue is that the rotation is just kind of boring, and you just occasionally cast drill or hot shot or whatever, and then you cast Automaton Queen, and you continue doing the same thing. With hypercharge window only being the time that you gotta wake up and press buttons. So yeah, I'm putting Machinist in holy shit. All right, magical casters. All right, Red Mage. B tier. Yeah, sorry, not that much to say about it. That's not bad. It's not good. You just build and you spend. I don't think there's that much more interplay for it. I guess I have fun with all the utility that I now have. That's kind of busted cool, but I don't hate the job. Let's be clear here. I just don't think it's like that overall exciting. I can't pretend like it's as much going on as some of these other ones that I think are just more fun to play. But it's not bad. It's not like Reaper. It's not Reaper boring. It's not White Mage boring. It's not Sage boring. Yeah. But keep in mind, if I'm saying that I think Red Mage is kind of so-so, Scholar's not very fun right now, in my opinion. I mean, it's a cool job when you can turn your brain off and just watch pretty animations. You know what? Actually, pretty animations gives it C tier. I like watching Ifrit fall from the sky and do some damage, even if it requires no skill. I shouldn't say no skill. I'm sure there's probably some stuff I'm unaware of, but it's there's definitely less skill expression. Oh, did I say Scholar again? I meant Summoner. Summoner is C tier for me because I don't think removing some of the skill expression is probably bad, and there's not much to work on. And then also, whenever it gets level synced, it can get really annoying too. Finally, Black Mage. I'll be honest, Chief. This is kind of another monk situation where I think the rotation is really cool, but I also kind of suck at it. Like, mostly because I haven't played it enough, right? Like, you play a job more, you get better at it. And I'm kind of bad at Black Mage, but I can kind of see where it's fun. But do I want to make it A tier? A tier because I think it is an enjoyable experience playing Black Mage. Like, once you really know a fight and play around it, you feel like a god. But personal preference is I don't like casting the same spell over and over again. I actually don't think that's very fun, so that's knocking it down. Probably to B tier here. Now, I think the issue here is most tier lists tend to follow a bell curve, and mine kind of don't. But also, it's kind of the way that I am, is I am not the kind of person who, I'm not the kind of person who aggressively hates something. Well, okay. I tend to either love or hate. I tend to not have as many, like, midway opinions about things. You know what, maybe I will reshuffle this a little bit. No, this is fine. I really do like most jobs in Final Fantasy. It's going to be hard for me to just give a D tier, but Machinist actually just got really boring and annoying. So it's actually going in the holy shit tier, not D. Holy shit tier. And then Blue Mage is hell. So yeah, this is my tier list. Hopefully I didn't upset anyone with my hot takes, but I don't know if any of these takes are particularly nuclear either. I don't think it's nuclear that White Mage and Machinist are just in an annoying place right now, that nobody really likes playing them. That's definitely not a nuclear take.